this lesson, we are going to create the end of the rainbow, except the end of our rainbow does not have a pot of gold. It's going to have drippy acrylic paints. So what you're going to need for this particular art prompt is a canvas, or I would suggest something like poster board paper or foam core cut down to size. This will not really work with watercolor paper because your paints will absorb into it. So I'm using a canvas panel. It's 8 by 10, and I have very loosely measured out and drawn 7 different little rectangles up here to represent the end of our rainbow. You're also going to want a paintbrush, of course, but most importantly, some sort of towel, an old towel or rags that can catch the drips once we start making our beautiful art piece. And of course, a spray bottle to create the drips. So I have my Roy G. Biv colors out. If you've never heard of Roy G. Biv, these are the colors of the rainbow: red, orange, yellow, green, blue, although I have turquoise, and indigo, although I have blue, and purple or violet, Roy G. Biv. You're lucky that I put the red on here instead of a hot pink because I love my hot pink, but I thought I'd at least stick with that since I was going with turquoise. But we're definitely using our craft paints because they are already very liquidy, but we're going to make them even more so by spraying them with water and helping them to drip down our canvas. So I'm going to lay out this is a big, I thought that this was one of my towels that I use up here in my studio, but it's so big that I think now that it's one of my son's cotton cloths that he used to clean his car with. So whoops, it is now on art duty. So what I'm going to do is actually start with red. Since we're doing the Roy G. Biv, we're going to go red, orange, yellow, green, turquoise, blue, indigo or blue, and violet. And what I will do is start off by, I want to just squirt each of these down. This plate is going to be an absolute mess when I'm done. That's okay. But I'm going to start off with each color, kind of liquefying it. I've already blobbed on my canvas. You know what? Let me grab a baby wipe and get this off as much as possible. This is not watercolor, so it doesn't come off as easily as watercolors. And it's not going to matter too much, but just kind of get that big blob off. And while I'm at it, I'm going to go ahead and spray down my canvas with the water. And even up here. So this is all going to be drippy wet, and that's what we want. So we already have the liquefied acrylic paints, and you can see it's already running around on the plate. No big deal, but we're going to stop with each one and hold it over your towel and just let it drip. So it won't be beautiful up here, but that's okay because we're going for the drip effect. That's what we're going to see at the end. One thing I will do is move my tray over to my right side because I'm right-handed, and I have a cup of water here that I will try to clean off in between the colors. So I'm going to put this in time lapse, but basically what I will do is spray down each color on my plate with a little bit of water. add it right up here on the little rectangles that I've drawn. And remember, I've already sprayed down my canvas. And we're just gonna spray it again and let it drip. So I will hold this to the side as I go, just so that you can see how it drips. And I'm gonna hopefully keep it in the camera shot for you. But I'm putting a lot of the paint pigment at the top and just squirting it down. And I will probably come back and do another layer on each, just to give us a little more color. In fact, you could go back and forth adding the different colors, coming back after you've sprayed it. You could do this several different times depending on how dark and how deep you want your color pigments to show. Because remember, as we add water, it lightens up as it goes down. All right, I'm gonna go into time lapse and I'll be back in just a bit. All right, so what I did was I came and added a couple of layers to the red and the orange just to get more of the deeper colors down, because as it goes down it gets much lighter because there's more water in it. My yellow was pretty good. I may have added a little bit to it. Actually, because my green has overtaken it, I want to just come up here and just add a little bit to that. And this is your art piece, so you can do whatever you want to do with it. I do like that the colors are kind of overtaking each other a bit, but I want a little bit more color up here. And so I did come back in several times and add more of my cool tones, which are my greens, blues, indigos, and violets. And you could add a little bit more green to this, but I'm pretty much satisfied with that one. But I think I do. Let me clean my brush. It is very important to clean your brush in between each one of these. But I want to add a little bit more turquoise up at the top. And I don't want these harsh lines, so every time I add it in, I just give it another little squirt. And then my blue, which is supposed to be indigo. I mean, it's kind of close. Add a little bit more of that. And I love how they just flow with the water down the canvas. I don't want that harsh line right there, so you can always come in here and very lightly with your brush help the water to continue going down. And then finally I want to add back in a little bit more of our violet. And then give it a squirt. And then I'm going to leave this like this and let it dry. Once again, make sure you have something to cover your surface. Don't want moms mad at me because you've ruined the kitchen table, and definitely not the dining room table, please. But after it dries, you can hang it up, frame it, or remember that we are collecting the pages that we create for another project later on. So this can be its own art piece, or it can become a background in a later lesson. So I cannot wait to see your beautiful rainbow piece.